Coming up on today's episode of Parasport Nation, we dig back into our bag of interviews from the CPC Media Summit last month. This time, we got a few Alpine skiers. You won't want to miss it. Let's get started.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smyth and Nathan Clement.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Alex Smyth, as always, joined by co-host Nathan Clement. Nathan, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Alex. It's a big week in Vancouver for cycling, so I cannot wait to celebrate all these events here. And I cannot wait for this program because it's very BC heavy, which you know as on the Pacific Coast, I love.
Yeah, well, you know, there is a lot to love on the West Coast, but actually, our first story doesn't take place in BC, so I call that a win. It is an Alberta-based story because the Canmore Nordic Centre just announced that they are going to be hosting 2 World Cups in December. The FIS Para Cross Country World Cup is set for December 2nd to the 7th, and that will be followed by the IBU Para Biathlon World Cup from December 11th to the 14th. Talk about some big news in the Nordic biathlon world, Nathan. I mean, one of the best locations, not only in Canada, but for when it comes to that biathlon setup, the range there, it is a top-notch training center. 2 World Cups coming to there. What do you make of the Canmore news of that they're going to be hosting those 2 World Cups?
That is massive. That is huge. We often talk about preparation going into Paralympics, and when you can have that hometown feeling at home in your own country, that's massive because that's much more than just having a course you're familiar with. That's more staff. That's more access to family, to needs, and you also have that home crowd support at the end of the day. So that's going to be really major for all the athletes as selections are near, as they're just trying to get that confidence, get those last steps, get that last feeling before it's time to fully focus and fully buckle down for Milano Cortina.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this was what I immediately thought. It's like, oh, this is great. In that final stretch, you're talking December, the Paralympics taking place, early March. Okay, this is going to be one of those final stops and those final preparation points. It's great to have it at home, or at least in your home country. You're going to know the course well. You're going to know the environment well. The one wild card may be the weather. You know, this is something that some of the athletes I spoke to at the summit, they said it's like, the season's getting shorter and shorter. Alberta's no exception. Canmore is no exception. We've seen extreme weather swings. Hopefully that's not the case when these World Cups roll around. But I have a would you rather scenario I want you to play out for me, Nathan. So these 2 World Cups are going to be taking place in Canmore. If you're an athlete, whether this is in cycling or back from your days in swimming, would you rather start off your competition season heading into a Paralympics at home with a competition like these World Cups and then be on the road leading into the Paralympics? Or would you rather start your season on the road but have that final competition before the Paralympics at home?
I can see myself as a road dog. I would like to start off the year at home, build that confidence, get it early, and then especially when the games are not going to be on home soil, it's better to get that familiarity away from home as you get closer and closer. So put me on the road, put me in a different situation, different environment. But it's great. If it was a home games, I would probably reverse it. But since the games would be somewhere else other than Canada, definitely on the road.
Yeah, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt. This is in Vancouver 2010. We're not having home soil advantage for the Paralympics. It's Milano Cortina. So road dog Nate Clement, he is taking the road path to lead into the Paralympics. I also think that kind of helps with your mindset as well, right? Because you're already prepped, you're already away from home, you're not going through that emotional reshifting as you're getting set for the Paralympics. It's already going to be as big as it's going to be. You're already focused on other competitions leading into the games, right? Like, have you had that before where you have those road competitions before like the Paralympics or other world championships?
I have, yeah, where throughout our calendar, throughout our year, especially with paracycling and even as a paraswimmer, we'll have like usually like regional competitions or even international races. Like I remember in 2015, we had the British International Swimming Championships that Swimming Canada went to about a couple months out of the World Championships happening in that same location in Glasgow, Scotland. But even for Paris last year, I was kind of in and out of Vancouver, and Vancouver and Canada being a massive, massive country, it kind of felt like I was really away from home, especially for the 6 weeks that I spent from the final training camp to the Paralympics and then to World Championships after that. So just got familiar with being on the road, and it felt weird being back in Vancouver once I returned.
Well, you know what doesn't feel weird, Nathan? Catching up with our friends with the Para Alpine team. I had the opportunity to chat with a few of them during that media summit for Milano Cortina 2026. So we have a couple of tapes we're going to be playing for you today. The first one is from friend of the program, Mollie Jepsen, and she talks a bit about her recovery coming back. So here's my conversation with Mollie Jepsen. Well, Mollie, long time no talk. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So first off, how are you feeling now that you're back, you're racing, and start to look forward to 2026?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I think just a level of calmness. I think after all the turmoil with injuries over the last few years, I'm feeling really calm and really ready to get started and prep.
As part of that, during that recovery period, you also took time to focus on your studies. How did that time away and that focus on education help you during that time?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always preached that it's so important to have something else on the go, not have all your eggs in one basket. I think it really helps me with my performance to have something else that I'm really excited and passionate about at the same time. So as soon as I was injured and I had an opportunity to focus on something else I also really love, it just worked out so well. I almost feel a little bit empty without it now that I've graduated. So yeah, it was a little bit of almost like a blessing to have that while I was injured for so long.
For yourself, have you had to change your approach to competitions or how your skiing or the style that you're doing now that you're back from an injury, or are you kind of back in doing things how you did before?
Yeah, I think I stepped right back in and doing things exactly the way I did before, which makes me really happy. I wasn't sure if that was going to be the case, but yeah, it's like a switch went off in me and it was like, okay, we're on, and everything went back to normal pretty quick.
Now, this is a pretty long, busy day for you. Obviously, you're doing a bunch of different media. I'm curious if there's been a focus on, for you in the different interviews and different kind of people you're talking to on the injury and the recovery, and if that is kind of a bit frustrating for you that now you are back, you've had competitions coming back, you're back healthy. Does it frustrate you that it's still the focus?
Honestly, not at all. I think definitely I'm so much more than just my injuries, but so many athletes get injured in sport, and I do think the more we talk about it, the easier it is for those athletes who are sitting at home or sitting in the gym or at physiotherapy behind the scenes all the time. I think also in parasport, it's a little bit less prevalent and less of a narrative compared to able-bodied sport, but we're all still injured. We all still have really intense battles with our physical and mental health. So I'm always happy to chat about it and chat about my experiences.
And for yourself, you ended Beijing by being the closing ceremony flag bearer. I mean, that's a pretty special moment. First, take us through what that feeling was like to be able to do that. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it wasn't on my radar whatsoever. I think I was sitting on the floor outside of like one of my rooms, like chatting with my teammates, just trying to have a little bit of social time during COVID, just literally sitting on the floor. And I got a phone call from a random number, and it was Josh Dueck, the chef de mission for Beijing, like telling me that I would be the flag bearer. And I remember just thinking, like, just being so happy and like proud. I think it just wasn't on my radar, and I was so focused on the sport, but had also been really focused on the helmet and the design and what I was representing at those games. So it felt really just amazing to be noticed and honored for a lot of those things that are just also beyond sport. And yeah, walking into that stadium carrying the flag was just such an honor, and just something that was never on my radar for me.
For you, what's your biggest hope for 2026?
For me to have fun, enjoy the process, and I'm really focused on hopefully stepping back onto that podium after everything I've been through in the last 4 years.
And we have a couple of fun questions for you, just to lighten the mood a bit. So number one, what is your pre-race pump-up song?
Purple hat, Sophie Tucker.
Okay. Describe your perfect race conditions, like from the snow, from the course. Like, describe what would be the perfect Mollie Jepsen race.
Dry, chalky, and firm. The sky, the weather, that can be anything. But if the snow is dry and chalky, I am a happy person.
If you could try any other parasport, what would you try?
Equestrian.
Okay. Not the first time I've heard that as a response. It seems to be quite a popular one. Any reason why? I
grew up as a little horse kid and still love it. I just happened to choose the two most expensive sports in the world, so I had to choose one.
See, I'm a horse kid as well. I just never got into actual equestrian. I just liked horses as a kid. And then lastly for you, I can have success in Milano Cortina if?
I can have success in Milano Cortina if I work hard in the off season and I'm happy entering the preseason.
I mean, that's a pretty great answer. And that was my conversation with Mollie Jepsen. And before we react, let's play my conversation with Kalle Erickson and his guide, Sierra Smyth. Kalle, Sierra, thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
So, Kalle, I want to start with you. You've had a tremendous season, really having some strong finishes. What do you attribute that early success?
I'm so new to the sport still. I think that a lot of the skiing background that I have from before, not necessarily racing, is really helping. But moving through the team quickly, I think, has helped, because kind of go from working with one team onto the World Cup team is a big step. I mean, working with the best coaches in the world, it helps a lot. So, and also too, your dad has a long history on the national team as a coach. Was there a bit of added pressure with him having that background and being a coach for the national team for yourself? Not necessarily, no. If anything, there's a little bit more. No, I don't want to say pressure, but he's a little bit harder on me now with stupider things than he was in the beginning. So, but other than that, it's only a good relationship on and off the snow. So nice. And Sierra, for yourself, like, you've had obviously a strong career of your own right, being on the national team. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, like, when did yours and Kalle's paths cross initially? Can you take me through that? Absolutely. I retired from my own career, and I was going to school. I was trying out other sports, just having fun, and I was coaching a little bit, and I was helping out with his team in the gym. And he didn't have a guide, and I was like, I'm not too rusty yet. I can put the skis back on and ski in front of him. And so he had never had a guide before. So I was just helping him out, and I was like, wow, this guy's really fast. And I way more prefer skiing than standing on the side of the hill and being cold as a coach. And well, here we are now 3 years later and going to the games.
And Kalle, can you tell me a bit about the kind of the importance of the bond between yourself and your guide, and how that relationship is so key for success? Yeah, so the relationship between the athlete and the guide, I mean, it has to be good, because that's where the races are won, essentially, is if you have a good guide or not.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of trust on the hill, and there has to be a good friendship, because if you're not getting along, then you're probably not going to trust your guide very much. So I think those are probably the two main things, or three actually. I'll add another one. Communication too is a major thing. So. And for you, Sierra, how do you work to kind of build that trust, that relationship with Kalle?
Right from the get-go, we clicked really quickly. We get to travel the world skiing with my best friend pretty much now. So we spend a lot of time together, and we're very much on the same page, same wavelength all the time. So just spending a lot of time together, and the trust came really naturally between us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kalle, for you, this would be your first Paralympics. How are you feeling as we kind of move closer to 2026? I'm really excited, obviously. I think it's going to be great. I kind of got a little bit of a teaser of it there at World Champs last season, but it's a big event, and there's a lot on the line, so the nerves are definitely starting to work up a little bit as we get closer to it. But other than that, I'm really excited. For me, my favorite question to ask any like ski or snowboard athlete is always
comes down to perfect snow conditions, because I find the athletes get so nerdy and particular about it. I love it. So I'll start with you, Kalle. What are your perfect like conditions to race in?
To race on, I like it. I tend to have a bigger advantage on kind of the more aggressive. Like a lot of guys like it when it's super icy, but I like it when it's a bit icier, but like grabby ice. And it's like that's what we've trained on, and so I feel good on that.
Yeah.
Sierra, what about you?
I mean, I have to agree for the most part. I think it's like that really, really cold European snow, or it's kind of like styrofoam, and it just grabs right away, and it's pretty aggressive. But yeah, we tend to perform really well on that.
And you both have had the chance to travel and compete all over. Is there a specific country or mountain or hill that you really enjoy more than others? And I'll start with you, Sierra.
I mean, I think Cortina is amazing. Like, we've had great success there in the past, and just the environment and the people there, they run a fantastic race and they're so lovely. Outside of that, though, I think St. Moritz is an unreal facility and just great mountain to race on.
I'm going to have to say the exact same thing that Sierra just said. So,
you guys are just so in sync. It makes it very easy. Is there something, Kalle, that you maybe have learned about yourself going through this process, going through this quadrennial as you prepare for Milano Cortina?
yeah, I think the thing that I didn't really realize about professional athletes is that there is so much time spent in the off season preparing for the actual race season. I mean, I've been spending a lot of time in Whistler, which hasn't necessarily been easy. You're away from home for 3 months at a time working out in the gym, where I'm used to being at home with my friends and fishing and, having a good time. So it's a little bit different.
Are there any like cross-training sports or any kind of maybe out of the ordinary activities you're doing to keep fit, keep active during the off season?
Yeah, I do a lot of mountain biking in Whistler during the summertime. Me and Alexi and a couple other guys that I know up in Whistler tend to go out pretty frequently. I know that Alexi is not doing it anymore, though, because it's a little too dangerous before the games, but I will not be stopping. So
You're a risk taker. You don't mind taking those chances. This is a fun question I always love to end on. So I want to find out, what is your pump-up song for a pre-race or a pre-tournament? Sierra, I'll start with you.
Kung Fu fighting gets me fired up.
Kalle, what about you?
Oh, I have so many good ones. I'm trying to think of a really solid one right now.
Big country guy over here.
I'm going to have to say like Stranglehold right now by Ted Nugget.
Okay. So at least there's a bit of a difference on the musical taste. So you found something.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
And that was my conversation with Sierra Smyth and Kalle Erickson. So many directions we could go with this, Nathan. Obviously, it was great chatting with Mollie Jepsen on that road from recovery, feeling confident in herself, feeling confident back on the course as she prepares for Milano Cortina. But, I mean, when we bring up Kung Fu fighting, I can't not go there right away. What was your initial reaction? I saw you had a smile on your face.
Yeah, Kung Fu fighting's a great choice, as well as Stranglehold by Ted Nugent is some real solid classics. Very different songs, very different moods that they'll put you in, but overall, just two great classic choices. But overall, just the conversation that you had with them, and you can see just the belief, the confidence, but also that partnership that they both have is phenomenal and incredible. And as Kalle said, you got to be like on that same wavelength to really be successful. And as someone who's, although it's the cycling world, seen a lot of tandem partnerships, like great ones, but also ones that don't work just because they don't have that cohesiveness. It's really great to see just how they're there supporting each other. But sounds like Kalle's a bit of a risk taker too, and loves to get out there and loves to be an adventure seeker.
Yeah, and also somewhat calling out his teammate Alexei Guimond for saying, no. The mountain biking's a bit too dangerous for me. Kalle doesn't seem to have any issue with it. if you're in the Whistler region, I mean, it's kind of hard to pass up that opportunity. But I think that's just part of that like fearless spirit is what lends him so well in the sport, is the fact that, you know, you're going downhill. You're basically trusting your guide who is a few feet in front of you. You're going full tilt. You're going top speeds. That there has to be that level of fearlessness, or else you're not doing the sport at all. And that was one of the takeaways. It surprised me, but didn't surprise me at the exact same time. And I 100% agree that cohesiveness, that bond that quickly was built up between Sierra and Kalle, like it's evident they're answering the same thing, like they're thinking the same way. So that's where successful partnerships are really made, and it's being able to develop it so quickly as they have. I think that is truly, truly tremendous. And we've seen those results already pile up for them. And I think it's going to continue. I think they're going to have success on the world stage at Milano Cortina. We'll just have to wait and see when the competition arrives. But I'm confident. They're confident. Are you confident, Nathan?
100%. I really believe that this is going to be their coming out party as Canadian Paralympic stars. They're already, if they're not already, but it's just incredible. And even an important thing that I see as a cyclist too is let's give the kudos to the guides as well and really celebrate them, because a lot of them have taken that step from the other side of sport and now they're coming back to really get involved, and they realize the level of intensity, just what it takes. And it's just amazing, like hearing a lot of the guide stories, like Sierra's getting into the parasport and really supporting, helping lead to hopefully some great things in the winter coming up.
Well, speaking of great things, I wanted to end the show with a bit of fun today, Nathan. I'm putting you to the test once again. I've already put you to the test with a this or that. Now we're doing a blind power ranking. And for you at home, if you don't know how this works, I have 5 different para sports. These are all summer para sports. Nathan is going to give me a ranking 1 through 5, and he is not knowing what's going to come next. So, okay.
Don't hate me.
Nathan, are you ready? Your first sport, 1 through 5. We'll say 1 is your top sport, 5 your least favorite sport, or most hated sport. Let's get even more controversial here.
Oh,
let's start.
No.
Wheelchair basketball.
I'm going to say this. I love all these sports equally. I would say put wheelchair basketball at 4.
At number 4. Okay, your next sport is boccia.
Great thing to do in the summer. I would say 5.
5. Wow, you really hate boccia, clearly, and wheelchair basketball.
No,
not that
I
much
love...
better. You've saved your top 3, and you're a 2-sport athlete, a 2-summer sport athlete. That doesn't mean there's still going to be a spot up for grab. Let's see if you made a mistake already. Wheelchair football.
Wheelchair football. I have a sneaky suspicion one of my 2 sports is going to be at the end. So that's why I've kind of left that 1, 2, and 3 open. Wheelchair football, gridiron football. I want to put that at, let's get wild with it. Let's say 2.
2. Okay, so you got spots number 1 and 3 left. Let's see if your suspicion has paid off. Parasurfing. Where are you putting parasurfing?
That's a tough one. I gotta go. I would love to try it. I tried wakeboarding once in Sarnia, Ontario. Although that's not surfing, it did not end well for me at all. The guy with a balance disability, shockingly, getting up on a board was a bit tricky. But I would say parasurfing at 3.
Number 3. So this is your top choice. This is the last sport left. You don't know what it is? It is swimming. You were correct. I was going to try to trip you up at the end there. Unfortunately, you didn't fall for it. So your final list is swimming, wheelchair football, parasurfing, wheelchair basketball, and boccia. Do you agree with that list?
There might be some I'll switch around, but I will be adamant and I'll say this is what I believe, and I will take all the heat, all the pressure from all the sports ranked low.
Yeah, so be prepared to be attacked and verbally berated anytime you run into a bocce or a wheelchair basketball player. Nathan, you've earned it for sure. But we are out of time, so there's no more berating happening on today's episode. Be sure to check us out next time. For Nathan, I'm Alex. We'll catch you then.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.